So for today's deep dive, we're getting into one of the most singular and frankly unsettling narratives we've ever come across. It's the story of a man named Warren.
And this story really lets us explore that fine line between, brilliant eccentricity and just a really dangerous, all-consuming obsession.
Exactly. We're going to use the clues in this account, the details Warren himself uncovered, to figure out what pushed him over that edge.
And we have to start with the biggest clue of all, the one that tells you this isn't just a story about some oddball who wandered off.
The medication.
The medication. This was a man with severe diabetes who managed his insulin with, and the source uses this phrase, ritualistic precision. It was his life. And yet, when he disappeared, his weekly pill organizer was on the counter, full, Sunday through Saturday, all untouched.
A man like that doesn't plan to miss a dose.
Never. So right away, we know his disappearance wasn't voluntary. Something happened. Something sudden.
So let's track this from the beginning, through the eyes of his nephew, who seemed to be the only person who really got him. But first, we need a picture of Warren himself.
Well, he was memorable. The source gives these really strong sensory details. He had a jaw disorder that required him to wear these rubber mouth guards. And he had these huge, thick glasses.
And the smell. The script mentions insulin and peanut butter crackers.
Yeah, always. To manage his blood sugar. And his clothes were always faded, like work shirts washed 1,000 times.
Right.
He was the kind of relative you keep at arm's length.
But he wasn't just some strange old uncle. He was brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. That's the contradiction. He could fix anything. The nephew talks about him explaining how to fix a blown capacitor like it was nothing. But in the next breath, he'd be talking about, hollow earth theories or subsonic weapons.
Which all funneled into his workshop. Can you describe that space for us?
It was pure Warren. A cramped back room that always smelled like burnt plastic and machine oil. And he hated modern tech, called smartphones tracking devices. He stuck with his old, clunky Motorola flip phone.
But he used some tech, right? The monitors?
He did, but for his specific purpose. Stacks of old cathode monitors, the big ones. One was just looping this grainy footage from a cave system in Turkey.
Why Turkey?
He was looking for a baseline, something to compare against. The other monitor was showing live seismic readouts. He wasn't just looking for earthquakes. He was looking for vibrations that didn't fit the pattern. Something unnatural.
And this was all for his main obsession.
The moly people.
But not like cartoon monsters. His theory was much more grounded.
Far more terrifying because of it. He saw them as a product of evolution. Pale, sightless humanoids totally adapted to darkness. He'd mapped out their entire theoretical biology, their tools, even how they'd hear us on the surface, through what he called coded vibrations in the Earth's crust.
It's a kind of applied biology just taken to an extreme.
Exactly. And for the nephew, this all stopped being theory years before the disappearance.
The camping trip.
The camping trip is the moment it becomes real. Warren absolutely forbids him from lighting a fire.
And his reasoning is specific?
It's chilling. He says fire draws attention. And then he says, some things can't handle sudden brightness. And the final rule, respect their rules. He wasn't theorizing anymore. He believed he knew the operating procedures for another world, right under our feet.
So fast forward to when he actually vanishes, the family, of course, just writes it off.
Yeah, the general consensus was, Warren's gone off chasing one of these rabbit holes. They filed a report, but they didn't really think anything was wrong.
But the nephew knew better. He had this gut feeling that Warren was weird, not careless.
And that's what sends him to the house.
Yeah.
And the first thing he sees validates all that fear.
The full insulin organizer on the counter.
That's the moment the whole story changes. He knows it wasn't a choice. It was probably catastrophic. So he doesn't even wait for the police. He goes straight to the workshop.
And the workshop is different now.
It's not chaotic anymore. It's focused. Frighteningly so. The chalkboard is the key. It's covered in these biomechanical diagrams.
They're not just scribbles. The source says they were detailed. Claw curvature, skeletal projections for, what was it? Crouched lateral motion?
Right. And he'd overlaid heat maps onto the seismic charts. He was past data collection. He was building a forensic profile of a predator he'd never even seen.
And in the middle of all this, a photograph.
A single grainy black and white photo of a depression in the earth. And underneath he'd written, too consistent to be weather.
He found it. He found an entrance.
He found what he believed was an entrance. And he left one last brilliant clue. Right next to his workbench, there's a handheld GPS receiver. It's on, holding a signal.
A note.
A note in these sharp block letters that says, I'll assume you'll be the one to find this nephew. Follow the signal.
Wow. So he knew. He knew he was walking into danger and left a breadcrumb trail for the one person he thought would believe him.
He did.
So the nephew follows the coordinates, deep into the northern range, way past where the car could go, way past cell service. And he finds it. A dry gulch near an old quarry and this vertical split in the rock.
Not a big cave entrance, just a crack. A seam in the earth, just wide enough to squeeze into.
And the moment he steps inside, everything changes. The air gets cold. The silence is total.
And he starts finding things. A trail.
The first is a plastic wrapper from a strawberry glucose tube.
Which is huge, because the source says Warren hated that flavor. He thought it was too sweet. He only used them because they were fast.
So he was in a rush. He was losing energy.
Desperately. Then, a little deeper in, he finds a glove. The wrist strap is cinched tight, but the palm is torn wide open.
Suggesting a fall, a bad one.
A hard fall on rough stone. And then, the last item. His old Motorola flip phone, sitting on a ledge.
Still on.
Still faintly glowing. Battery at 23%. Antenna bent. He'd clearly fallen, gotten back up, put the phone somewhere safe to save the battery, and kept going.
The nephew calls out for him, rounds a bend, and that's where he finds the sleeping bag.
An old, faded green canvas bag. And when he unzips it...
The description of the body is, it's brutal.
It's forensic. His chest was caved in, but the wounds to his abdomen weren't cuts. They're described as being torn open in wide, uneven ridges.
Like something pulled him apart?
Exactly. And along his sides, these shallow grooves that were too round to be teeth.
Too round to be teeth. That sounds just like the claw diagrams on his chalkboard.
It matches his profile perfectly. And the final detail, his pinky finger on his left hand was just gone. Yeah. Stump had gone gray.
And the smell, wrought iron, and this damp sweetness.
Like late-stage compost, yeah. Ugh. The nephew just loses it. He's bent over, gasping, and in that silence, he hears something.
A scrape.
A faint scrape. Then another. And he lifts his flashlight and sees them. Low, gray blurs at the very edge of the beam, just darting around, always staying out of the direct light.
So they were real. Warren was right.
And they looked exactly like he imagined. Patchy, hairless, pink and gray skin, big heads, wide jaws. And their eyes. There were these small, dark, swollen things that didn't reflect the light. They resisted it. They flinched away from the beam.
He turns to run.
He runs, but they're on him instantly. One lunges, another one drops from the ceiling, and claws wrap around his leg, slamming him to the ground.
And this is where it gets just unbelievable.
It's the perfect, awful irony. As he's struggling on the ground, that old Motorola flip phone slides out of his jacket pocket and hits the stone floor.
And because he's now close enough to the entrance to get a signal.
It connects. And the backlog of every missed call, every voicemail, every alert from the past few hours all comes through at once.
Well, those old MIDI ringtones, the sirens, the robotic voice prompts.
Just a wall of distorted digital noise in that dead, silent cave. It must have been like an explosion.
And the creatures.
They shrieked. They physically recoiled, covering their heads, scrambling away from the noise and the flashing light of the screen. It confirmed Warren's first rule. They can't handle sudden disruption. The chaos of our world is poison to them.
And that's how he gets away. He scrambles out, leaves an anonymous tip for the police so the body can be recovered.
And the official story is sealed up nice and neat. Lonely hermit dies in a cave-in. Case closed.
But looking back at all the details, Warren was right about almost everything. The creatures, their behavior, the way they reacted to light and sound.
He was. And the clues he left, the untouched insulin, the GPS, it all paints this consistent, terrifying picture. He wasn't delusional, he was just outmatched.
The great irony, though, is just you can't escape it. The man who hated modern technology, who saw it as this great evil, is saved by the chaotic noise of his ancient flip phone.
The very thing he ran from became his shield. He understood the rules of their world so perfectly. But it was the noise from our world, the world he rejected, that actually repelled them.
It makes you think. If this deep dive shows us anything, it's that maybe even the wildest theories have some kind of kernel of truth buried inside them. What other rabbit holes that we all dismiss might have their own set of rules.
Right. What other hidden domains are out there operating under laws we can't see, just waiting for someone to trespass? And what parts of our noisy, bright, modern world are the only things keeping them at bay?